Elise, thank you. Well, the renewed conflict now between the U.S. and Iran expected to drive up gas prices across the country, including here in Green Bay. The cost at the pump has already jumped here 11 cents from just a week ago. And now Senator Tammy Baldwin calling on the president today to end this war. New at 6, Chief Political Reporter Jason Zimmerman speaking to the senator about these concerns. He joins us now live with what she had to say in the newsroom. Jason?
Chris, Senator Baldwin says she's doing whatever it takes to put pressure on the president to end this conflict. While gas prices are rising now, inflation overall cooled last month as prices dropped by 0.4 from May to June. That is according to the U.S. Labor Department. Senator Baldwin today once again calling for the war to end, which Congress has tried to do, utilizing both legislative and budgetary roadblocks. The blocking of the Strait of Hormuz continues to be a choke point for oil moving to other countries, causing everything from gas, diesel, and even fertilizer to become more expensive.
On average, Wisconsin families, households have spent $483 more on gasoline since the war started than they would have otherwise.
We also spoke with Patrick DeHaan of GasBuddy.com, asking him what drivers might be paying at the pump through the Labor Day weekend in the Green Bay area.
As I mentioned, I do expect that Green Bay prices, which already jumped over the last week, probably will go up another 10 to 20 cents over the next week or two. A lot of it really subject to developments and escalations that could continue to happen. So a lot of uncertainty now.
Diesel prices are expected to go up even higher. DeHaan says possibly by 20 to 45 cents a gallon. That's because of the Ukrainian strikes on Russian oil refineries, which produce a large amount of diesel fuel. Chris, back to you.